All right, so Trump kept his promises to flood the zone with many executive orders. And there are two that are of interest for me. Number one, his executive order terminating federal DEI programs, and another one, terminating birthright citizenship. Now, his executive order terminating federal DEI programs is what I'm going to cover in this video. So the first thing I want to do is let's go read principal parts of that executive order. All right, let's go over there now. So here is the executive order. It is named Ending Radical and Wasteful Government DEI Programs and Preferencing. Now, first of all, I don't believe that DEI programs are radical or wasteful. They are consistent with the 14th Amendment, equal protection under the law. They are also consistent with the goals of the Civil Rights Act of 1964. So they're not radical. They're not wasteful. Having a diverse workplace filled with Americans of all ethnicities is a great thing. And regarding the transgender population, the United States Supreme Court has ruled that discriminating against them is unconstitutional. And that opinion was written by conservative Neil Gorsuch, a Trump appointee. So it is not at all radical, not at all. So let's look at this a little more. There are parts of it I want us to actually read. All right, so this says, by the authority vested in me as president, by the Constitution, and by the laws of the United States of America, it is hereby ordered. Now, I do want to say that some of these things are being challenged in court. Lawsuits have already been filed for a lot of the executive orders that he issued on yesterday. All right? So these can be challenged. This is not something that he does and that's the end of it. So we'll see how this plays out. But let's look at this. Section 1. Here's what he says in the executive order. He says, purpose and policy. The Biden administration forced illegal and immoral discrimination programs. Why is it illegal and immoral to have a diverse, inclusive, and equitable workspace? That is not illegal and immoral. Discrimination programs. He's saying that because of this notion of reverse discrimination. In other words, he's saying that whites are being discriminated against. And that for me is always a head scratcher because whites already control the country, control the majority of the wealth of the country. At his inauguration, there were billionaires there, one of which the richest, wealthiest man in the world, and they're all white. I think I saw one Asian person in that group. So I'm not quite certain why they use these fake arguments to suggest that blacks are taking over, blacks got the controlling the wealth, and we got to, keep them down and fight against them. That is all a lie, just to put it bluntly. But anyway, they use that. So I disagree that this is illegal and immoral discrimination programs going by the name of diversity, equity, and inclusion into virtually all aspects of the federal government. And I do want you to note who implemented, who set these as rules and regulations in the federal government. The Biden administration. The Biden administration was attempting to give African Americans a fair shot. But that's not what you hear on social media. You hear a lot of disinformation. A lot of disinformation like these programs really just benefit LGBTQ plus people. That is disinformation to turn you against. And a lot of it comes from black YouTubers or black TikTokers, right? Who are saying these things because of some beef they have with the Democratic Party. And I want to say up front, I am not a Democrat. I am not a Republican. I am neither. I am a Christian. I am a Christian who embraces justice and righteousness. So I'm not a part of any political party. I'm not a partisan. I have huge disagreements with both parties, with both the Democratic Party as well as the Republican Party. But as a civil rights attorney, I know which party has been promoting laws, rules, regulations, etc., that benefit African American people. And it is the Democratic Party. Flat out, period. Now, because of that, obviously I wanted to see the Democrats win so that they could continue promoting, or at least not fighting against, as we now see the Republican Party doing, fighting against programs that benefit African Americans. This is really simple. This is really simple. Which party has been fighting African Americans? Everything from affirmative action to DEI to reparations and everything else that we call tangibles. It has been the GOP. It has been the Republican Party. I mean, really. So let's be real about that. All right. Now, back here. So Biden put these policies in place. This was a concerted effort. Trump's executive order says, stemming from President Biden's first day in office when he issued Executive Order 13985, advancing racial equity and support for underserved communities through the federal government. The man was trying. Biden was trying. Biden and Harris were trying to address issues important to us. And yet many African American people voted against Kamala Harris, who would have kept these things in place. So those of you who voted for Trump or you didn't vote at all, you're reaping what you sowed. You're getting right here in this executive order what you sowed. You helped the man who is anti-black, who is fighting against you. You helped him take office. And the woman who was going to continue fighting for your upward mobility, you didn't support her, many of you. And so what do you expect? So if any of you lose federal jobs as a result of this is what you voted for. This is what you apparently wanted. Make it make sense. Make it make sense. It makes none. All right, pursuant to Executive Order 13985 and follow-up orders, nearly every federal agency and entity submitted equity action plans to detail the ways that they have furthered DEI's infiltration of the federal government. It's not an infiltration. It is an effort to try to diversify the workspace and, as this says, to support underserved communities. That shouldn't even be controversial. It is consistent with the Civil Rights Act. It is consistent with the 14th Amendment. It attempts to reverse centuries of systemic racism in this country. It is an attempt to reverse centuries of white supremacy. We should have been behind these people. Instead of listening to black conservatives and white conservatives and pro-black imposters, we should have been supporting these people if it was our goal to continue the programs that are beneficial to us. Now, I'm going to address in just a moment this other disinformation that these programs benefit only LGBTQ plus people. I defy you to find data, creditable data, that supports that assertion. All right, let's go back. So the public release of these plans demonstrated immense public waste and shameful discrimination. No, it doesn't. That ends today. That was yesterday, January 20th, 2025. Trump has issued this executive order, and they have somehow tried to make themselves the victims of DEI, although they own and control just about everything in this country. This reverse discrimination. Trump has even said that if a white person makes a claim that a DEI program has harmed them in any way, they can get what's essentially reparations. That's what some folks voted for. That's what some blacks stayed home, didn't vote for Kamala, and this is what I warned you about. I warned you this was coming. This right here, this type of anti-blackness, all right? Which is why I took issue with Snoop and Nelly and Soulja Boy and Rick Ross and anyone else who performed in front of those anti-black people who are cheering this on. Why would you affiliate, normalize? Why would you try to suggest to other black people that these folks like you, they're for you? Why do that when they obviously are not? I mean, this is obvious. So, the director of the Office of Management and Budget, OMB, assisted by the Attorney General and the director of the Office of Personnel Management, shall coordinate the termination of all discriminatory programs. They're not discriminatory. And let me tell you why. They're not discriminatory because this anti-DEI is based on the crazy notion that if a black person is in a position, he or she is not qualified. We heard people like Charlie Kirk, Megyn Kelly, I think her name is, say that if they saw a black pilot, they would be afraid. They would be afraid because in their minds, that black pilot is not qualified. He is a DEI hire. So he's not as qualified as the white dude with the strong jaw. One of the Charlie Kirk guests said. That's flat racism, folks. That's flat racism. In order for us to get to these spaces, the space of being a pilot, I promise you we have had to go through twice the hell that a white pilot has had to experience. Twice the hell. 3 times the hell. You all know I'm telling the truth. If you've achieved anything, you know it was not given to you because of the color of your skin. You know you went through hell. You had to be twice as good. You had to be exceptional. You had to be a Barack Obama. You couldn't make any mistakes. You were on a zero tolerance policy. Not one mistake, or you're done. You're over. You're kicked out. So their pseudo fear, feigned fear of black people being in these positions who are not qualified to be there is total crap. Let me just say it the way it is. It's junk. It's junk. I know in my life, yeah, I've had to I've had to be better than some of the folks, white folks that I work beside. I remember one job I had as a chemist. I'm a graduate of an HBCU, North Carolina A&T State University. Go Aggies. Got a degree in chemistry, an undergrad degree in chemistry. First as a high school dropout. I never made it through high school. All right. So I had all that against me. I had everything against me from the time that I was born until today. All of it's against me. Okay. So I had to work twice as hard. I had to be 3 times better than everybody else. I had to get through college. I had to work multiple jobs to get through college. Even with the Pell Grant, I still had to work. I didn't have anybody at home paying the tuition and giving me a stipend and giving me money to live on. No, I never had that. I never had those luxuries. So when I'm standing beside my white colleague practicing chemistry, who at that time was from Ohio State University, a major university, and here I am from a little small A&T State University, the best HBCU in the country, by the way. No, when I'm standing there with my colleague here, who's a good friend of mine, good guy, I didn't get there because of any special considerations. Remember this, it's not how far you've come, it's how far you've come from. It's not how far you've come, it's how far you've come from. So this notion that Black Americans are in these positions because we've been handed things as a result of some sort of program is ridiculous. We live in a country that is deeply racist, that enslaved our ancestors for 250 years. And segregated us and sharecropped us and all kinds of things for another 100 or so years. And we still deal with systemic racism. In order to overcome that, we couldn't look to some program. And if so, the program only did but so much. We still, just to get to that point in life, we had to be exceptional. But they have created, MAGA, many whites, have created this reverse discrimination, this notion that if you have benefited from DEI or affirmative action, you are not qualified. Not to mention all the government assistance that whites get and have gotten over the years. You want to talk about government assistance? Oh man, we could talk about government assistance. Even to this day, white farmers, for example, get all types of subsidies. What about the subsidies that whites received right during slavery, where they were able to go and claim all kinds of land out west? We didn't benefit from that. And those African Americans who, right after slavery ended, were able to receive some land, all that was taken from us. At one time, we owned vast amounts of land that we had to work hard for. They took all that from us. We built up something like Tulsa. They would take that from us. We made some progress in any way, like in Wilmington, North Carolina, 1898. They would destroy those things. So don't wag your finger in our face, our white counterparts, and try to argue that we've been given something and what we have, we didn't earn. Oh, we had to earn it a lot more than many of you who get all kinds of white privilege. Anyway, I'm not going to read all of this, but I do want you to see this part here. BI. All right, subsection B, subsection I. Each agency, department, or commission head, in consultation with the Attorney General, the Director of OMB, and the Director of OPM, and I think the Director of OMB is Volt, Russell Volt, I believe. I'm not sure, but he is one of the principals of Project 2025. Okay, you won't hear much about him, but he is one of the architects of Project 2025. So he will definitely, I read Project 2025, he will definitely be there attacking all the DEI, a very passionate MAGA person. So it says, and the director of OPM as appropriate shall take the following actions within 60 days of this order: terminate to the maximum extent allowed by law all DEI, DEIA, and environmental justice. How important is environmental justice for our community, people? These are things that Biden and Harris put in place for our community. Now, some of you have supported the person, the movement that will unravel these things. Environmental justice is very important for African Americans because where do they dump all the hazardous stuff most of the time? In Black communities. Where do they dump all the stuff? Where's the air polluted? Where's the water all polluted? That all happens in the African American community. And it's one of the reasons why our community suffer from a lot of diseases disproportionately, because our neighborhoods quite often are just toxic. So environmental racism is very real, and environmental justice is very important to overcome, to defeat the environmental racism. We need that. And yet they're getting rid of all of this. Elections have consequences. So when you're told, vote the couch to punish the Democrats, it doesn't punish the Democrats, people. It doesn't punish the Democrats. Kamala Harris is doing fine. She has a mansion in California and another one in New York, and her husband and family, they're going to be great. They're going to be, doing very well. Joe Biden he's probably back in his mansion. This doesn't hurt the Democrats. When you follow this disinformation and where racial justice is concerned, you put people like MAGA in office, it doesn't hurt the Democrats. It hurts African Americans. We're the ones who need environmental justice. We're the ones who need programs to force doors open so qualified Blacks can at least be considered. Don't buy into this junk that you're being told. Again, quite often by people who appear to be very pro-Black. Terminate to the maximum extent allowed by law all DEI, DEIA, and environmental justice offices and positions, including but not limited to chief diversity officer positions, all equity action plans, equity actions, initiatives or programs, equity-related grants or contracts, and all DEI or DEIA performance requirements for employees, contractors, or grantees. All the things that Biden and Harris put in place are now gone. They put it in place, as they said, as Trump said, for underserved communities. For underserved communities, for African American neighborhoods, to give us a chance. Because we've been locked out of the system. We've been locked out. We don't get those opportunities unless the white power structure is forced to do it. They'll look at your application, look at a white person's application just based on your name. Jamal Simpson versus, I don't know, Chris Zabrowski. You think you're going to get it? You think you're going to get looked at? That is the way the system works. This is white supremacy. This is systemic racism. And right now, the people who have helped us fight that has been the Democratic Party, although I got big issues with the Democratic Party. Well, let's go try the other side. Really? The side that is doing this? The side that is doing this type of thing here. And oh, by the way, the party that got rid of affirmative action, now DEI, and will next go after civil rights, birthright citizenship. Do you really believe that that is the party that's going to give African Americans reparations? Are you kidding? What? What? What is wrong with you folks? It makes no sense. Wow. And this whole meritocracy sham, that's all it is. America has never been a meritocracy. Anytime you colonize native people and then enslave stolen black people, go to Africa and bring over here tens of millions of African American people to work the land that you stole from the natives, that's not meritocracy. That is nowhere near meritocracy. All right. Now, the thing that we also got to look out for here is that MAGA will not stop with just undoing DEI. MAGA will also work to reverse civil rights laws in various federal agencies. So, thank you for watching this video. Hope you learned something. Drop your questions and comments in the video. Some of them I will respond to. Some I am so busy I don't have the time to respond to all of them, but some I will. All right, so I am Reverend and Civil Rights Attorney Augustus Corbett. Again, thank you for watching this video from start to finish. And always remember, stay woke.